I know it's hard to hear in the back, but if you can, the clock's running, 5 minutes, so please take a seat if you can, and grab your last drink. The bar's going to open back here on the right, so if you're in a heavy-duty deal-making conversation, please take it over there or outside. And thank you, and Happy New Year. Cheers. Oh, we got a while. Keep that one plugged in for a second. Yeah, 5 minutes. And then he's going to do a chat. Just because the tweet. Oh. No, it's okay. It's just,
For what is it profit a man to gain the world and lose his soul? No need to be proud and self-centered, all because of material.
I'll probably do the other people next. Just trying something new. There are a couple of people who came from this town. Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah, I saw Suzuki song. So Suzuki song's here. That's pretty cool.
Peace and unity for you and me. Justice, peace and unity.
Yeah, let's put that stuff in the background. Well, you know, one thing that Miles is very grateful for is really the sponsorship here, and we should probably mention the sponsors here for San Francisco New Tech, and really kind of thank them for making this possible. Boulevard, Hauser, Bailey, attorneys at law, have been supporters of San Francisco New Tech for a long while now. We also have B-Trax. B-Trax is also sponsoring not only the digital media experience for San Francisco New Tech. They're also doing the news stream tonight. My name is Greg Valoria. I'm the social media manager for B-Trax, and kind of doing some small VJing tonight. The gold sponsors we have is Myler Media. They do a lot of marketing services around the New Tech area. We've got CalInnovates.org, a longtime sponsor of SF New Tech. And I like to mention the media sponsors. We got Mashable, Read Write Web, and Nerdstalker. The Nerdstalker is always here doing interviews and stuff like that, so I like to give them a pretty hefty shout. So anyway, I'll turn it back to house music. We're getting started pretty soon. We got Matthew there drinking a beer, and Miles pretty relaxing with a beer. So anyway, hang in there and hope you guys have a good night.
Warning. The Surgeon General warns. Cigarette smoking is dangerous. Dangerous. Hazard to your health. Does that mean anything to you? Them legalize marijuana. Right here in Jamaica, yeah. Them say it cure glaucoma, yeah. I'm an bush doctor, yeah. So there'll be no more smoking and feeling tense. When I see them come, I don't have to jump no fence. Legalize marijuana, yeah. Down here in Jamaica, yeah. Only cure for asthma, yeah. I'm an anti-minister, yeah. So there'll be no more police brutality, no more disrespect for humanity. Legalize marijuana, yeah. Down here
reminder, we're recording this live, and you can get this on Ustream on the 2011 San Francisco New Tech channel. We also encourage all of you to interact with us on social media, on Twitter at SFNewTech, as well as use the hashtag #SFNewTech. So anyway, I'll try my best to keep up with you guys there and respond to you guys and interact with you in the social way. So anyway, I think we're getting ready.
Hey,
right now,
everybody.
so,
Sorry. By the way, my name is Matthew. If you guys don't know me yet, I'm pals with Miles. Thank you, everybody, for being very quiet in the back. We're actually going to get started now. So we're going to ask that you're very, very quiet, and that if you want to talk, please take your conversations over there because they carry a lot. And Miles will tell you guys to shh. I just say it nice. He doesn't. Anyways, thank you guys for coming. Cheers.
Thank you, Matthew. You guys applaud Matthew. He's been #1 in making this thing happen. Cool. We've got a great program for you all tonight. Thanks for all coming down. I want to say, even though it's towards the end of January, it is a new year. So Happy New Year to you guys. It should be a good one, yes. How many people are here for the very first time who've never been here before and don't know what to expect? Cool. Well, welcome. Hopefully you'll come back after tonight. What we try to do here at SF New Tech is connect people with ideas and talent and money and notoriety and all that good stuff that comes from every dream of every entrepreneur out there. This thing started 4+ years ago as just an excuse to get out and talk about technology over beers, and it has evolved slowly into what is now the largest and longest running tech event in the city. And it kind of, it's on its own wave, it's got its own momentum, and you know, Matt just told me, he's like, hey man, it's just 2 of us and 6,000 people. So it's really cool to see that there's a community of people that are so plugged in and so interested to see and hear about new and cool stuff. And then on the opposite side, there's so many talented people out there that are building cool things that they want to show off in front of people who really care about it. And we're at the vortex of that right here in San Francisco. So it's been a wild ride, and it's going to continue to be a wild ride, and we're going to do what we can to make SF New Tech into more of the glue that helps connect us all. And contained within that are some announcements we're going to make tonight. So hopefully it'll resonate with you. So I want to thank you guys for being who you are. Usually I spend a lot of time thanking our sponsors, and I'm just going to spend 2 seconds doing that this time around. Largely because these guys have been around for a long time, and I feel like a broken record sometimes. But big thanks to Bull Bunthauser Bailey. That's a local law firm. Eric Ferraro is a good friend and a keen lawyer when it comes to technology. He's a good guy to be friends with. They've supported us forever, so thank you to them. I want to thank our friends from B-Tracks who are here tonight. Hands up for B-Tracks. These guys helped throw together Japan Night, a big successful event we did that brought over Japanese companies. They're helping with our stream tonight, which is a good segue. Tweet early and often, guys. We're streaming this live right now, so you can invite your followers in to kind of see what's going on. It's at sfnewtech.com/live. Tweet that out, please. Let's get above 6 viewers. The hashtag for this evening is #SFNewTech. Also, our friends from Hashable, who we're going to hear from towards the tail end of the night, will urge you to meet and greet each other over Hashable. Hopefully you guys try that out. It's pretty fun. I want to thank CalInnovates.org. They are a nonprofit organization built on bridging technology leaders and lawmakers of Sacramento who are slowly learning to speak the same language but still need some help. And CalInnovates is there to essentially take people who are building tech and teaching those who are making the laws of how important it is that we're listened to and heard down here up in Sacramento. Thanks to my firm, Myler Media, we do events like this and help bring people together. And then our media sponsors in Mashable, Read Write Web, and Nerdstalker. The Nerdstalker, Adolfo's in the back room over there taking interviews if you guys want to be stalked by the original Nerdstalker. Okay, who's got that time? Because we have a special 7:37, yeah. So at 7:37, we have a quick hello from none other than Mr. Robert Scoble, who is joining us on our advisory board. So Robert's going to help us make this even better than it is. And Robert, as you all know, is one of the key opinion leaders in Silicon Valley and beyond. Robert, can you see me? We see you.
I can't see you, but as long as you can see me, that's cool.
Okay, we want to get the audio going here. Where's your audio plug? Sorry, Robert. Okay, good.
Okay.
You're not seeing the 200 other people in the room, but no, it's not going to work.
Testing.
Okay, oops,
How you doing?
hold on.
Okay.
He's a busy man.
So it's an honor.
So we just lost you on the big screen. Okay, there you go. So Robert, I want to thank you for jumping on board to help advise us in this new year. We'll talk about the details of that soon. If you could give some advice to entrepreneurs out there on what pitfalls to be aware of in 2011, what would be the top 3 things or top 2, whatever you want, that you can share some insight with these wonderful people?
I was just at Flipboard talking to Mike McHugh, who had a great year last year, and he was talking to me about timing, and having a product that the market wants. Last year the iPad came out, and we were all trying to figure out what it was good for and what it was going to be used for, and this new company comes out and launches something into that hunger, and not many companies really think about the what I call the battlefronts, the places where there's opportunity to jump in. I was arguing with a company at LaWeb, who was shipping Windows apps, and I was like, most of the people I see on planes and in businesses who use Windows aren't likely to try new apps, but people who have Android phones or iPhones or iPads are really hungry for trying new things out. Evernote today, the CEO of Evernote on TechCrunch said he's having good success with the new Mac App Store, and that makes sense, right? There was a new App Store that came out. We were hungry for what is this good for, and we're going to try, loading 10 or 20 new apps out of it, and the window is open right now for that App Store, but it will be closed in 6 months or so.
Right on. And if you had any advice on all of these guys out here that are building cool things with no money, on how to keep food on the table in 2011?
Oh, that's a tough one. If you talk to Airbnb's CEO, for instance, he told me about starving for 1,000 days before his company started really taking off. And he has a famous story. If you go to Google and search for Airbnb and startup school, he told a story of living off cereal that they had made for promotion. And it's a tough thing when you're waiting for your business to take off. But he said the best advice he ever got was from Paul Graham, who told him, go around the world and meet customers and find out what they want. Find out how to make your product better for people.
Right on. Robert, these guys are itching to see some demos tonight, so we won't steal any more of your time. Thanks for joining us. You guys.
Thanks, I'm sorry I couldn't be there.
Next time, I'll hold you to it. Cool. Thank you, Robert.
Thanks.
Cool. Thank you, man. Oprah. All right. Just a little treat. Say hi to Robert Scoble. Okay, so I'm not going to, we're going to get going with the demos real quick, but I want to make an announcement tonight, something I've been talking about for the last couple of months. It's finally coming into fruition. So we have different ways that you access the SF New Tech community. We have all of these little points on the web, these little silos, through meetup.com, through Facebook, through our email list, through Twitter, through our blog. You guys probably hear from me 1,000,001 times, right? So that's all the online stuff. Then we have these events that happen every month, sometimes more than once a month. Where we'll do 2 of these in a month, or we do these special events. and there's such a thirst for people, obviously, because we're all here tonight, to meet and greet and maybe do some business, or maybe find that developer, or maybe find those funds, or maybe find that company that you want to fund. All that stuff happens here. So I've been trying to turn the dials and make that into something that's a little bit more tangible and a little bit more focused, and also something that can help this organization continue to grow. So with that, we're launching a new program that we're calling Friends of SF New Tech. And I know that the term friends has kind of lost some meaning over time, and maybe that actually helps that helps this effort. But Friends of SF New Tech is an exclusive corporate membership to SF New Tech, wherein your company or organization pays one flat fee for the year, just like our annual membership that you may have heard of for individuals. But this gets you 5 tickets to come into any one of our events throughout the year, 5 discounted tickets, a listing in an exclusive SF New Tech directory that we're launching, where you can put your value prop in front of people that want to read it. So and a number of other exclusive benefits that we're going to forward through just to what we're calling our Friends of SF New Tech. So I want to just announce quickly, we have 5 launch partners that we're going out the door with in the next couple of weeks, including our friends over at Hummer Winblad Venture Partners, you may have heard of. It's a top-tier VC firm here in the city. Lars Leckie, a managing partner over there, is a friend of SF New Tech. I want to thank John Lynn. He's a wealth manager at Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, also on board to connect with the startup community. Backblaze and Gleb Budman, the CEO, are supporting us as a friend of SF New Tech. Don't worry, they're not 100 of these. They're just 6. Our friend Matthew Perez, he's the CEO and co-founder of Nearsoft, and this is outsourcing technology to Mexico, believe it or not. Our friend Duncan Logan, he's the founder and CEO of a brand new co-working space called Rocket Space, which you may have heard of, just opened recently. Maybe you've been to an event there recently. And Kevin Waldron, he's the CEO of the Waldron Group, who does executive coaching and leadership skills, helping me a little bit. So these guys are going out the door with us as our launch partners of this brand new program, and you'll hear more about it in the emails I'm sending out, but tonight's kind of a big night that this is actually out in the open. So if you're interested, we're here to help, and that's what we're all about. If you don't want the corporate thing, we have an individual annual membership. Basically, for a one-time fee, you walk in like you own the place. We send you a comp code for 2 tickets. Okay, that's it for the sell jobs. Let's get on with the demos. Let's have some fun. If you guys, again, if you want to continue to grab some drinks, there's a bar in the side room in the back there. Feel free to do so. If you want to have conversations, though, yeah, take it in the side room or in the back. This is all about giving the utmost respect to these guys up on stage. So, without further ado, we would like to hear from ConsumerBell and Ellie Cachette, CEO and founder. So, Ellie, you ready to roll?
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Miles, for your support. My name is Ellie Cachette, and I'm the founder of ConsumerBell. Some of you may have heard of us. Others used it. Can you hear me okay? Yeah? Okay, great. Good. I got 4 minutes of your time. ConsumerBell is a marketplace. Class actions are very common, more common than you would think. Every 9 years, the average corporation will have a class action filed against it. The average settlement of a class action is anywhere from $2 million to $35 million, depending on what it is. You may know as a consumer, maybe in 6 years you'll get a $10 credit to your AT&T bill. Maybe in 7 years you'll get a $50 gift card for Best Buy. It's not very efficient, but we have Twitter, Facebook, viral platforms. Why does it take so long? Really, it's about having a common place to share, and we're here to solve that problem. ConsumerBell started back in May, and what we do, we have many features that are live now and many features that are being built out. The goal is to connect companies with consumers that are using their products and consumers with the companies that they're buying products from. So as an example, if you have purchased something that you know is defective or recalled, what do? You Google it. You look it up. You call the company. You speak with a 2-week trained CSR, her manual says, please tell them to call this other 800 number. The company doesn't actually want that. So what we're building out is a marketplace that has functionality. So think the co-tweet of Twitter. Think the Eventbrite of events, a tool that companies can use to group consumers, but also find resolutions. What does that mean? It means creating one single place. If something breaks or you're not sure what to do, you know exactly where to go. We've already had significant traction, and I'm going to walk you through a couple of the small features that we have. Most of what we do and the value of our product is actually on the back end. We allow companies to run reports, group people together, message people, track what kind of products you're buying. Let's say if you have an iPhone that broke and you're part of the 3G, we know that you might have a 27% chance of buying this other product. That's quite valuable. Hopefully the audio is okay, because it sounds pretty spiky up here. So this is our, I don't know the best place to stand, but maybe here. So this is our submit page. Right now we have minimal restrictions. We are in talks with the CPSC. So there's a government database that's being launched in March, and we're working to be integrated with them. So if you post your complaint with ConsumerBell, it's visible in real time, searchable, cached. Other people can share it virally. But the difference is we can send a duplicate to the government database. So we're not trying to stop safety, we're trying to make it easier. On the submit page, you can do basic information, your name, the product that you have, how to be contacted. Maybe you want to upload a file. Surprisingly, it's been common. So people are not scared. So one of the obstacles that we had in the beginning were, how do you know it really happened? Do consumers really want to give you that? Oh yeah. I've gotten text messages at midnight, copies of bills, copies of IM chats with customer service. It's pretty incredible. I think people and consumers in general want a better solution. So right here, Wing has just done a short thing. Yeah, quite common actually. And you can go ahead and click submit. So moldy juice is our specialty. And so we've had a lot of traction related to children's juices being filled with mold. We were just featured in NBC, and many companies were claiming it was actually a user error. Plugging the straw in the pouch incorrectly was producing mold. It's not true. So here we have some viral components where you can share with social media. Get an OAuth from Twitter, share with add this. We also have a latest complaints feed you can scan. We have a search functionality you can search. We have an iPhone app, which if you have an iPhone, you should look up Ring the Bell, one word. And you can download and see our blog. You can take a picture of UPC codes. You can upload your complaint. You can make it more active. We have companies in the pipeline working with us, and we have a lot of people generally excited. Let's say you are about to buy something and you find out there's huge issues. We also have a recalls page and other cool stuff I don't want you to know about just yet. That's it. That's ConsumerBell, making safety easier.
Okay, so now I'm going to run around and you guys are going to ask questions. So raise your hands high.
Whose side are you on? And I don't mean that in such a negative way, but in terms of marketing,
Yeah.
or position yourself as a consumer advocate.
So let me first tell you whose side we're not on. We are not on the side of attorneys. Class action firms take most of the funds and make it difficult for companies and consumers to communicate properly. We're not on their side. A mentor of mine once asked, well, who is it? Are you pro-consumer or are you pro-corporation? And since if I had to choose in that second, we're pro-consumer. And I think ultimately with viral media, we're not doing anything innovative, we're just creating a location. And if companies want to think that we're speeding something up, they're just avoiding what's going to happen naturally. We have a question up here.
Okay.
So what's your business model? How are you going to make money?
You know, I never thought about that. I actually quit my day job. Shit. We have one. So without disclosing too much, it's not ads, it's not selling people's data-related information. It's actually selling the real estate related to what we're doing and the functionality. And we have different levels. We don't plan to be subscription-based, we plan to be transaction-based, and that's all I will say. But if you look at Eventbrite, they're just a silly little calendar that lets you print tickets, and they just made $220 million in revenue this year. So transaction-based monetization is much more fruitful than subscription.
My question is related to that. Is it of where are you getting your funding, or are you self-funded?
We are pre-revenue. We have some things that are being activated in March. We have been angel funded in June, and we are in seed funding talks right now. They say seed funding is the new Series A. Scaling is the new black. Yes, somebody got it. That had to have been a founder. But right now we're self-funded.
Hi. I think it's an interesting idea. I'm just a little bit confused as to the value proposition to the consumer. So the consumer comes to the site. It sounds a lot like other consumer advocacy sites, except there's something else there that you're not really telling us. And I'm confused as to why they would go to your site as opposed to, one of the other more established ones.
So you could go to Get Satisfaction. Maybe you'll get 3 thumbs up. That's great. That won't replace your baby stroller. You can go to Pissed Consumer and blog about it. That's great. A web crawler will pick it up and spread it across 200 other websites for their SEO. The key here, and I think part of it is the functionality that's not live yet, is it's incentivizing you to get information, first of all, as a place. So we have a huge mom base. Moms love to get information from us. But the other key is, let's say you have a legitimate product issue, and you really do have a situation. Would you rather wait 7 years, 9 years for a class action? Or do you really just want to have it replaced because it's a common problem? You're one of 5,000 people with the issue. So the incentive for the consumer is getting an answer now and getting some remedy to the situation. And the incentive for the company is to make you happy, because 6 years of you pissed off tweeting isn't actually helpful for brand management. I hope I'm being friendly. I think so.
Hi, so I actually have the flip side of that question. When you talk about incentivizing, like say, for example, like a Toyota, I mean, they would have loved to have you when they had to recall like some of their Priuses. How do you incentivize the company to actually notice ConsumerBell? Because part of the problem you name is the CSR who lacks experience. Who do they have monitoring their account on ConsumerBell?
We've been building our own database of connections. So as some background, I used to work on the corporate team at Macy's as a technical project manager. So we have our own relationships and channels we've been building for about 11 months. Because you're right, calling the average 800 number versus their director of customer service is a lot different. So we have those relationships that are building, and companies tend to work in packs. So it's not a matter of getting on their radar, it's a matter of picking up the phone and just saying, hey, we really want to help you, and if you want to build a portal independently that has no SEO to find people with an issue, you're welcome to do that. But you can also just white label, go in and create your own group and use our own SEO to have a resolution.
One final question. What was it that inspired you to build this? Did you have a specific consumer-related problem, or?
It's not very sexy, but my father was actually infected with HIV growing up from Bayer Pharmaceutical, and by the time we made it to the courtroom, 40% of the people were dead. And so Bayer said, fantastic, and wrote a check. And I just thought, it should never be cheaper to kill people than to do the right thing. Like, doing the right thing should actually be cheaper if you think about how capitalism works, right? And so as I was building huge programs for Macy's and Visa, and even as a programmer building little e-commerce shopping carts, I thought, this is crazy. This is such a simple problem. And if we can process 6 tetrabytes of Visa transactions in 2 hours, why can't we solve recalls?
Very interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Great job. ConsumerBell. So next up is Conference Hound. And these guys have to catch a plane, so they're going to speak really fast. What letter are you? All right. Bruce Carlisle, CEO of Conference Hound, everybody.
How you doing? Good. Thanks, Miles. Thank you all for coming. How many people in here, show of hands, not that I can see y'all, but how many people have been to a conference in the last year? Almost everyone. Last 6 months? Almost everyone. So this is a fairly conference friend. Well, not up. Do I get free time? No, I'm not going to miss my plane, but Jay Hung, who actually built the site, our CTO and my partner, is here because he missed his plane last night. I promised I wouldn't stress Kevin out. What's going on?
So while we're waiting for the technical difficulties to kind of get over, you could interact with us with hashtag SFNewTech, and obviously use our Twitter account at SFNewTech. So anyway, looks like they got the technical difficulties done. We'll switch back.
In actual fact, the search for conferences, if you're trying to figure out where to go to for a conference, you all know probably the big conferences in your industry, but you don't necessarily know all the hundreds and thousands of small ones. Depending on whose numbers you get, there's anywhere from 40 to 100,000 conferences just in the US every year. About $4 billion is spent on conferences alone. And should I stop again? I'll just keep talking because I know it's going to come up, and I can give you the data. It will just go faster. It's about a $4 billion industry just in terms of conference passes just in the US. And in terms of all the stuff that goes on around conferences, it's about a $100 billion industry. So it's a pretty big space. And frankly, my motivation was in having very, very bad experiences in trying to search for and find conferences to go to. And there's actually lots of different reasons why people go to conferences. It's not just simply because of their professional experience. And the main motivation was we wanted to build a far better search experience for conferences that was completely open. And so we invented Conference Hound. And Conference Hound is basically about finding conferences the way we believe people actually think about conferences. And we went down to Moscone and Javits in New York and started talking to people in bars about how they thought about conferences and how they think about conferences. And I will tell you that people in the tech community are really far more diligent than a lot of people who go to conferences. For a lot of them, if you're in the Midwest and you're a car part salesman, it's one of the most exciting days of your life when you go to a conference. But did we lose it again? Okay. What we've done is built a site about conferences that's really about the experience and the culture of conference going. And really, this is more than just a website. It extends and becomes a conference brand, if you will, across all media. And Conference Hound allows you to search for conferences in a number of different ways that we'll show you, based on cities, based on who's going, which of your friends are going, what speakers are going to be there, what industry you want to search for, based on tags that you can identify with individual conferences, based on the venue, based on the person organizing it, all of which are not necessarily things that you might want to search for, but some of which are the basis on which everybody, certain vertical people want to look for them on. And so we've got the real deal up there, so let's start going. So Kevin, why don't you show the industries tab? So this is an example of how you can search by industry, and you'll see that it surfaces a number of industries. And if you can go back, Kevin, to the cities. So let's go to San Francisco. And if you hit San Francisco, you go to the San Francisco conferences. And if I think of number 3, what do you know? There's SF New Tech. And these are all the conferences that are happening currently. We've just loaded this thing up with tags to make sure that it's really findable to try and help Miles out. And now if we can go quickly back, because I only have 1 minute and 18 seconds I'm actually going to skip a bunch of stuff and just go straight to the attendee tools. We have built a number of tools, some of which you've seen on other sites. You can RSVP, if you click that, Kevin, quickly, and it allows you to log in. You can now log in using LinkedIn. We'll be having Twitter integration fairly soon. And I'm here to announce, I can't do the Steve Jobs thing here because I don't know if you guys know this, but there's a little piece of red tape here, and I'm now out of camera range. But we're here to announce a new feature the world has never seen before. It's brand new, and this is the world's first ever Ask Your Boss button. So if you find a conference you want to go to and you want somebody else to pay for it, Conference Hound is the only place in the world that we know of where you can ask your boss. So if you'd hit that, Kevin, please. And the Hound helped you find the conference that's right for you. Now let's get the boss on board. And Kevin's boss is Jay. Boss's email address, and I'm going to this conference. It seems like it'd be great for the company. That's already pre-populated in there. You can change it however you want. And boom, off that email goes to Jay. And do I get a few more seconds to keep going on this thing? Okay, thanks. And hopefully if Jay's smart, he'll say no and he'll blame it on me. But we think that's an exciting feature. I'm going to do one more demo for you quickly. If we could just search for South by Southwest, Kevin. SXSW. And I'm sure this is a conference a lot of you are going to. And I'll just scroll down the content of this page. We have, Here we have who's attending. We're still an early stage alpha, so we only have 15 out of the 20,000 people who are going marked up. We have additional notes. Keep going down, Kevin, if you would. And down. A map. We have all the social web integration. So we have a lot of information that you can find on other places like other sites. Finally, I want to show one more thing. We have a resources function. If you could go to the SF New Tech page, I will take just 20 more seconds. I want to show this. So SF New Tech, please. And let's hit the the resources page. Tab. And if you scroll down, you'll see there's no resources. Well, that's not a surprise because this thing's still going on. But as a matter of fact, Kevin, if you hit video there, maybe flip over to YouTube. Yes, you still have that loaded up or not? And as it happens, I think we're good. So I'm going to do this. I will tell you that since I'm out of time, we've uploaded a video. We can add that right away. So thank you. I apologize for the technical glitches. Happy to take your questions. Thank you for listening, and thank you for putting up with the uneven performance here tonight.
Thank you, Bruce. Sorry about the projector there, but he was on a Linux machine. Something didn't work right.
No comment whatsoever.
No comment. So we ate in a little bit of your Q&A time.
Yeah, sure. That's okay.
Those who have questions, raise your hands. Hi.
I suppose if a speaker is interested in being a part of these conferences, is this an appropriate a way in which for them to connect with somebody to be a part of the conference? And then also I wanted to find out about your funding, whether you're self-funded or raising
Sure.
funding.
We have been self and painfully funded for about a year now, and we are in the process of closing our first, what we call a seed round, different from what Ellie calls a seed round, and are going out for an angel round as we speak, literally. As far as speakers, we expect that to be a big piece of what we do. Everybody who logs in can create a bio. We haven't done it yet, but we expect to separate speakers and panelists from individuals attending, and we think we're going to create a pretty large resource of speakers and panelists so that the people who are looking for speakers and panelists can find them, and also so that the speakers and panelists can promote their appearances, and so that they can be followed. So if you imagine somebody like Ariana Huffington, if you were an Ariana Huffington stalker, you'd be able to find where she's going to be in all the conferences she's going to speak at.
So, hi. So, great idea. My tweet just showed up. One of the world's biggest open source conferences in Australia next week. So I searched on open source, and that didn't find anything because you can't search on the topic. And I searched on Australia, and I got a 404 error. So it's an alpha. It's a great idea. I hope it builds up. Thanks.
Thank you for pointing that out to us. I'll tell you, we have 40,000 conferences in there. I think we need to have about 100,000. We freely admit, and the reason we call it an alpha is we've got a lot of work to do in sort of improving the search, which is now open source search. That's why we're getting funded, and it's going to get better. So thanks for pointing that out.
So this is related to one of the questions that was just asked,
Sure.
but in terms of the speaker component,
Yeah.
I'm thinking you could probably sell into agencies too that spend hours trying to track down the appropriate conferences to recommend for their clients. And I'm just curious if you'll be able to long-term search for past speakers so you can tell if competitors have spoken at these particular conferences in the past, and
Yeah.
if so, if you would make an appropriate recommendation.
Sure. So nobody's asked me the monetization question, and it's okay if you don't. But one of the paid products that we're pretty excited about is that all of this information is free. You don't even have to be logged in. But we have the opportunity, as we put the information together, to find additional information such as who's the person in charge of speakers, what are the criteria for speaking. And we foresee being able to create a paid sort of behind-the-wall product with public relations agencies as a primary target, which will do exactly what you're talking about. I worked at a PR agency, and there were all these poor people slaving over finding all this information, and we believe we're going to be able to make a lot of it. I don't think all of it, but a significant portion of it sort of available at the push of a button. Does that answer your question? Yep.
Hey, I have a question. Is that like where are you sourcing all these conferences?
Right now, it's a combination of two places, and I don't know if that bears much resemblance to what it's going to look like in the future. We license a fair amount of our data, and we have humans putting in data that we think is strategic for certain audiences, such as public relations, such as advertising, such as the tech community. And whenever anybody mentions a conference that's not in there and I get embarrassed, we fill it in. Ultimately, I think we'll be looking at scraping, but we really want to have a high quality source of data. And having scraped before, you end up with a lot of junk. So we think it's really important, even if it adds to our cost structure, to actually moderate that data and make sure it's good. And these guys are getting closer. I always wondered what would happen if you ran over your time, and this is what happens. They get closer and closer and closer. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Bruce.
Good job.
All right, moving right along with the switch of a dial. We've got DemDash with Dave and Jen. I'm sorry, Dan and Jen and Connor.
Hang on. Here, let me plug it and unplug it.
So our nifty 4-hub VGA thingamajig is a piece of shit.
Great practice, idea and practice. No source still. Okay, hang on. It's, aha, you got it. He has the hot hand right there.
All right. 1024.
It should auto-detect. There it is. Beautiful.
All right. Without further ado, DemDash.
Thank you.
Right by the yellow there.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jen Ancona. This is my co-founder and husband, Dan Ancona. And we're here to show you DemDash, which is a social channel for politics. So to get started, we're going to go back in time to before the last election. And I, think voting is important, and I always want to do my civic duty, like you, I'm sure. But it can be really daunting. There's a lot of information to sort through. And here's where most of us start, right? Like, this is the stack of mail that we got for the last election. It's very confusing. It doesn't make sense. So I'm looking at this mail, and I'm thinking, how am I ever going to sort through this? So I decide to procrastinate and look at Facebook. So I look at Facebook. Oops. I look at Facebook, and I'm in luck because somebody shared a DemDash slate on one of my friends. So I click the link, and this takes me to DemDash. And this is a basic slate. So I'm thinking, this is really cool. I'm scrolling down. I'm seeing all the candidates, all of the ballot measures, all the way down to judges. This is something that I really need. So I sign up, and I get to the civic profile page. This is another thing that I really need. It tells me everybody who represents me, from president all the way down to my local city councilman, and what precinct I'm in, which is something I've always wanted to know. But I go back to the election, which is my focus, and I've added some groups that I trust and some friends who I know are good about politics, and I see what they think about the things on the ballot. Then I basically start voting, and I'm going down my absentee ballot, and I get to this Proposition 26, and I'm like, what is Prop 26? I have no idea. I can't figure it out. I'm reading the incomprehensible ballot argument, sifting through the mail. So instead of that, I just click on the link in DemDash, and it takes me to this page, which will show me very quickly what my community thinks about this. And it's clear very quickly people aren't in favor of this. And then I can read what some organizations or other people have written, and it actually makes sense. And so I go from not knowing what I think at all to being like, okay, I kind of get this is a no. That was pretty easy. Then I go to the local measures, and I see something that I actually know about, and I've heard in the news, and I have an opinion about it. So I get to do my little rant about this ballot measure and post it, and then people who are looking at that ballot measure can also see what I've said, and this feels very empowering, like I'm actually participating in this process in a kind of social and open way. So what was a kind of laborious, kind of unpleasant and usually very solitary activity is becoming social, easy, and actually pretty fun. So then for between elections, when there's not an election going on, we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to try to make your online political activism also easier and more effective. We're also going to connect your activism with elections so that when the election comes around again, you're not starting from scratch. You've actually been a little bit more engaged. You kind of know what's going on. So how this will work, first, this is how most of us engage with activism online, right? It's a lot of email. We get millions of these emails. We have to fill out our information every single time. It's kind of scattered across the web. So we're going to consolidate all of this on DemDash, and we'll be able to take actions with just one click, and all of this will be kind of logged in the system, and it's building a record of your political interests and activism. And then over time, you'll also we'll link these actions with news feeds of your representative. So if you voted for Jerry Brown in the last election for governor, you can kind of follow what he's doing, so then when he's up for re-election, you won't be starting from scratch, and you'll kind of have a little bit more information. So the goal is for DemDash to be this kind of socially curated one-stop shop for political information, kind of everything from where to vote to who represents you to what kind of issues you support. So why is this a big deal? One, small actions at a big scale can make big change. We saw this really on the Obama campaign, but nothing has since replicated that for the rest of the system, that model. Secondly, It's a $4.2 billion market in political communications. It's all being spent on TV ads that fewer and fewer people are watching, and the mail that you saw before that's kind of piling up all over America. And then only about 100 million of that right now is going to online. And so that's a market that really needs disruption. So if you're thinking that DemDash needs to win, here's how you can help. Sign up at demdash.us. Tell us what you think, and let us know if there's anyone else we should talk to. Thanks a lot.
Wow. Right on time. I love it. Good stuff, guys. Okay, questions for these guys. Who here votes?
Is this model only for Democrats, or are you planning to have Republicans and other, political parties involved?
Yeah, it's for everyone. It's for everyone.
It's democracy dashboard, not
Yeah,
Democrat.
it's democracy dashboard. Yeah.
So is it possible to have a private profile on the site? Because I can imagine it might appeal to activists, but I could imagine someone in middle America might not be quite so comfortable with having all their political views publicly searchable.
Sure.
Yeah.
You want to say?
Sure, yeah. We're working on those features. It's, right now we've started, our sort of early adopters, the first group of people that are going to use it are mostly activists. We've already had requests for that, really specific, detailed, people giving us amazing feedback. We want to make, tons of research tools, and we're trying not to let the security, we're totally self-funded. We built this with $5,000. We don't want the security or, the privacy ability to get ahead of where the security of the site is really at.
Can I pay you to tell people how to vote?
Now we have a business model. I'm going to quit my day job. We are going to give people, one of the business models is going to be a way of reaching people. It's sort of matchmaking is kind of the way we're thinking about it. It's an ad product on some level. This is one of the things anyway. But it's sort of a person-to-person hybrid kind of model. Hopefully we'll have that up this year. You'll be able to see how it works. But you won't be able to quite pay to tell people how to vote, but it'll let you connect with people who are interested.
So the ad budgets for political campaigns and advocacy groups is quite large, and that's going towards media.
Yes.
So you're expecting a slice of that type of budget to go towards distribution. How can you get traction prior to that so you're actually selling a known quantity?
Yes, yeah. We're a classic hockey stick, right? Like we're looking at, a lot of growth sort of along the bottom for a long time while we reach users in terms of revenue, right?
We're reaching users
first. Users first. We're totally obsessed with users. That's our whole background, Jen and my background, and our designer too. It has always been about, user focused. Like for now, we're not that interested in, building the tools that are going to let, these kinds of organizations, reach people. We're starting some things just to test it out, really. But, our whole focus has been the end user, which is, none of the tools, the way this market is developed, none of the tools have been developed with the end user in mind. I mean, look at what email, what the groups send out when MoveOn or Barack Obama or on the Republican side, they all send out tons of email. It's not a really great user experience dealing with that.
I don't mean to hog the microphone here, but
we can talk later.
We can talk later. Let's talk later. No, just a quick point. DemDash, the name, it's democracy, but not Democrat.
Yeah.
But on first look, it looks like, oh, okay. And then, your example, you showed something with a lot of MoveOn and whatnot on there. This particular group's got its start at meetup.com, where I was one of the guys that helped launch that. And what put us in the national spotlight was the 2004 campaign where Howard Dean's users used meetup.com.
Yeah.
And
Us.
Yeah,
it was you guys.
Yeah, right.
It was you guys.
Yeah.
No. But that pigeonholed our corporate brand into the left corner, basically, which was okay because we were all lefties anyway, but we needed to show that we were a nonpartisan organization in order to survive, in order to sell it to the other side and play, its business. That's a challenge. How do you expect to play to both sides, especially when one takes to it quicker than the other?
Sure. There's a couple answers to that. One of them is that based on who we're looking at for funding so far and the customers that we're looking at, it may not matter. I've been working in this business, in the political data business now for the past 4 years, and I'm really familiar with it. And in some ways, being partisan or being a little partisan can be a source of strategic or competitive advantage, weirdly. It's totally counterintuitive, but that does sort of happen with a lot of groups. So that might be, that might be one reason. We had, I don't know if we still have it. Someone's going to go register it. We could set up other domain names and run the technology through a different brand. We'll put it that way. You can now imagine what URL to go register. Please don't.
Yeah, I was just going to suggest you might do some name testing because,
Yeah.
I thought you were Democratic.
Yeah.
And so you might,
Yeah.
See what other people think, some alternate names that are more neutral, unless
Absolutely.
you want to have it for a particular political party.
Yeah.
Or have you thought of Dash?
Of who? What did you say?
I don't know.
Never mind. Any other questions from the back? We're no more time left. Hey guys, good job. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Okay, so as we get ready for the next demo, I just want to make a quick feel-good announcement. So last year, hit this like that. Hit that. So last year, SF New Tech had a bunch of events where a portion of the proceeds we put aside for charitable causes. And we were able to give away some money to some cool stuff. One thing that really captured our hearts and minds was an orphanage in Haiti that needed a lot of help to relocate 47 kids that no longer had any families. And we helped them reach one of their goals right before a tax deadline. Thanks to you guys in SF New Tech, these kids now have a secure, safe home to live in Haiti. Isn't that fun? Isn't that cool? And they learned about the letters SFNEWTECH. And they did it on paper. They should have scanned it in. No. Okay. Okay, moving right along. Let's get back into the business here. Okay, so Meili, I'm sorry.
It's all good.
Not too many Turkish
Yeah,
people.
there you go.
So Meili's going to tell us about TalkBox and their new OpenTalk API in 1 second.
One second. We're going to try D first.
Okay, well, they plug in, hey, if you want to get on the stage, it's real easy to do so. There's a link off our website that says apply to demo. I send everybody there. I get people emailing me, please. I'm like, go to the link. So that's your first stop, and then feel free to bug me.
There we go. There we go.
We're watching. There we go.
Are we
Okay.
set? Okay.
Open talk. Ready to roll?
Open talk, ready to roll. Quick question. Who here develops? Okay. Okay, cool. That's enough, folks. Okay, second request. Everyone, there's a bunch of tweets going out. Tweet one nice thing about a person you've met tonight, and then tag it at #SFNewTech. And let's just get some good spirits and good energy going here. So my name is Meili. I'm with TalkBox. And we just launched OpenTalk. And OpenTalk is our new video chat API. And the goal of OpenTalk is to really get the conversation going where the content is. And we'll give you an idea of what that means. So here's a really simple app we built. The lovely Lauren's hiding in the wings back here. I wish we could see a little bit better. But if Lauren were checking out the SF New Tech website, I could also publish. And then after allowing my camera and microphone, we'd both actually be sitting here and we're talking about the SF New Tech website. We're able to see each other, we're able to hear each other, and if Lauren wanted to change up the website, let's say go to CNN.com, she could, and we could talk about what Ricky Gervais did at the Golden Globes. And it's a really simple way to get people to kind of share content and to put the video chat where the conversation is. Most of the time, video chat comes in a box, and what we found is that when you blow up the box, and you make the video chat in addition to what people want to watch anyway, YouTube videos, slide shares, Flickr streams, then what happens is the conversation and the engagement is much, much better. And this is a really simple application that you see here, but you can do a lot of other things. We've had partners that have done a speed dating website. We have partners that have put it into their project management tool so they can do daily scrums with distributed teams using video chat. We have a partner who is doing real-time news debate. So whenever a new news item comes up on the top of their website, folks can jump in, read about that news item, and then have a debate about what they think and where they stand on the issues. And we really think that when video chat supplements existing content, it really takes that content to the next level, and it creates an engagement that didn't exist before. And so while video chat and using the OpenTalk API is pretty cool, you can do a lot of things. If you can do it with an HTML div, then you can do it with our publisher and subscriber widgets. Our goal was to make it really easy to develop with as well. So I'm just going to jump in real quick and show some code and just show everybody just how easy it is. All OpenTalk applications come in 3 parts. There's a server-side component, which is really simple. It's about authorization, and we're just going to punt on that today. That's just not that important tonight. And what we're really going to focus on is what it takes to make the JavaScript library work. The JavaScript library really has 2 parts. The first is getting into the video chat, and the second is figuring out what the hell is going on when you're in the video chat. And so let's just dive right into it. So initialization comes down to 3 pieces. The first is the session ID. We have a session ID right here, and that tells us what video chat we're going to join. The next is a set of event listeners, and we're just trying to take advantage of existing JavaScript paradigms, make it really easy for JavaScript developers to figure out what's going on when they're in the video chat. And the last bit is this handy-dandy connect function, which makes it really easy to connect to the call, and we thought really hard about that name. Once you're in the call, the first thing that happens is you get the session connected handler to come back. And the code for the session connected handler is going to do a couple of things for us. Let me just drop that in there real quick. It's going to do 3 things for us. First, it's going to tell us who's already streaming in the call. You notice that when I switched over to the tab, Lauren was already publishing her video. And as soon as we join the call, we can see that Lauren's already publishing. The next thing it's going to do is it's going to figure out if there are already 3 people publishing or not. This application has been limited to 3 folks, but you can get up to 20 videos at a time in any given session. The last thing it's going to do is tell us how many people are watching. Right now, we can have hundreds of people watching, and we hope to push that number up higher and higher as we go forward with the OpenTalk API. So now once you're in there, you kind of want to figure out how you can publish yourself, if that's an option. And so like I said, the publish function really just takes a div in an HTML page, and it calls the OpenTalk publish function, and it drops you the publisher widget into your page, and you're off and publishing. Those are the 2 kind of basic elements. The last really important bit is being able to subscribe to other people's videos. And that's really the same thing. There what you're going to do is you're going to create a div, and you're going to, there we go. You're going to create a div, you're going to call the subscribe function in the OpenTalk API, and then you're subscribing to the streams, and you're off and running. So those are really the kind of basic elements of what it takes to build an OpenTalk application. I'm out of time, but one last spiel is we're hiring. We'd love to find a developer evangelist if you know anybody. We're having a recruiting event at our offices, 115 Stillman Street, on February 8th. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mei Lee. And sorry about your name before.
No, it's okay.
I love it when folks pull up real code on the big screen.
I like the real codes.
Awesome. Okay, questions for Mei Lee. That was just an arm around a shoulder move. That wasn't a hand up. Okay.
I can just keep talking if people want me to. I can show off some other apps.
Archive video content. Are you planning on recording the video and letting them republish it via any other stream? Because a lot of times virality comes from being able to pass it on, but if it's only real time, then the value of it decreases.
100%. Great question. To repeat for everyone who wasn't able to hear it, The gist of the question was, are you going to enable some kind of recording so that it can become viral and so that people don't have to be there to watch the video when it's live? Synchrony is a really hard problem on the internet, and we realize that one of the things we're solving is synchrony. And one of the ways to make it so that content is valuable after the event is to provide what we call archiving. And archiving is something that we're working on. It's probably our most requested feature, and we hope to have something to release on that front soon. Don't have a date yet, but that is, one of our top priority projects. And that's actually a great point you bring up, because there's really two elements. There's video chat, where it's about bringing people together, and then there's the content that it creates, and it's about sharing that content. And we do hope to solve both those problems.
Crickets. Any hands up?
How much does it cost?
Excellent question. What you saw right here is going to be free, and it's going to be free for a very long time. Our goal with the basic plan is to get people using video chat and to make video chat a native paradigm for the web. Things like archiving, things like higher definition video, things like having encrypted streams, those are things that we expect to charge for someday, but the basic ability to have video chat on your website will always be free.
So I was just about to ask, how are you going to make money?
Excellent. I think I just answered it, but if you want me to keep going again, I could. No, I'm just kidding. So our goal is get people to use video chat, make video chat an integral part of how content producers share their content with their audiences, and then give them value adds on top of that. There's a question back here. I saw your hand go up. Excellent question. The question was, are you going to integrate with other video chat applications to be able to leverage people's network effects and to kind of be able to expand people's networks? As those platforms become more and more open, we do plan to integrate with them. But the big challenge right now is that we don't have the resources to reverse engineer how to piggyback on those platforms. And so right now, what we really want to focus on is being the best web-based solution out there. And then as the kind of other platforms open up, and as we ourselves develop, maybe a mobile API or maybe other APIs, we will investigate, being on more than one platform.
So Scobel just Skyped in at the beginning of this meeting. Can TalkBox do that?
Yes, TalkBox could do that. In fact, they could do it on the SF New Tech website beside the Ustream feed of the live video, so that everyone just goes to one place. They get to see Scobel live on the SF New Tech website, and they get to see the Ustream feed at the same time.
Yeah, what kind of funding have you gotten so far?
Good question. We're actually on our C round. The last round was a $12 million round led by DAG Ventures, and our previous investors, who were Bain Capital and Sequoia, both re-upped. Bain led our B round and Sequoia led our A round.
How much was your B round?
B was 10, A was 4, and C was 12.
So you guys have some money in the bank. How big is your company? How many people?
We're at 20 people right now. We're split about 2/3, 1/3 engineering not. Our big engineering challenges, a lot of it has to do with how do you deliver better audio video quality on the web. We are piggybacking on Flash. We don't plan to do that forever, but we are right now. And we're trying to kind of solve the problems that come with piggybacking on a black box, which is the Flash player. And so that's a big part of our engineering challenge.
And you guys are based here in the Bay Area?
We are based in the Bay Area. Again, we have a recruitment event on February 8th. It's at 115 Stillman Street, which is a block down the street from the Whole Foods in Soma. So please come out. We would love to have everyone there.
Last question. Did you have to pay for your domain name, and how much, or was it available?
I actually wasn't there when that happened, but rumor has it that we did not have to pay for the domain name. I just don't know what the story is. I just wasn't there at the time.
All right.
But there is a story. So if you can find the founders, I'm sure they'll tell you.
TalkBox, open talk. Thank you, Bailey.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All righty. Okay, moving right along, we're going to hear from Roland at Topicmarks.
Thanks. Roland and Carl, actually.
And Carl. And after Topicmarks, we'll hear from Hashable, and then we're going to do what we call our 60-second spot. So it's still part of the program. That's an opportunity for you guys if you want to make a quick announcement. That's not quite a 5-minute demo. This is your opportunity to get up and talk about what you're working on or what you're looking for. What we do is we have you log it in the laptop here, and we'll publish it online later on tomorrow sometime. So it's a good audience to put a request out if you're looking for funding or a developer or whatnot. I urge you to do so. If you're interested, what we'll do is we'll line you up this way. You guys jump on stage, make your case, and then move on, and then add your info. So it's my favorite part of the night. No offense to the demos, but you never know what you're going to hear at 60-second spots. All right, you guys ready to go?
Mike, Miles, that would be great. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present here, Miles and Matt. My name is Roland, this is Carl, we're with Topicmarks co-founders, and we're here to tell you how you can deal with the enormous amount of information that's flowing onto your desk every day. What we're finding is that smart people used to manage a lot of information just in their office in these enormous stacks of paper that they never read. But this is changing a lot. People are now moving into fully digital document management, also for their personal information, and specifically moving this onto the cloud. What is now information management on the cloud is just a $300 million market, but this is moving very fast into a $5.5 billion market in just 5 years' time. And this is not just a market opportunity, it's also an opportunity for you as smart people how to manage your information better. Because when it's on the cloud, a service like Topicmarks can actually take all that information from the cloud that you store in Evernote, Dropbox, ShareVault, Box.net or other services, take all that information, even everything you find on Google, and read it automatically for you, take semantic analysis of that, store all the facts in full detail, and organize it in the very language that you use to create this content. For every document, it then produces the key points, so you can very quickly get a grasp of a document that you don't need to read fully yourself, but also on a per folder level, you can basically get a grasp of the entire contents of a folder. So let's say you have 50 Google search results, you will immediately see what is the gist of all these search results without having to click through each one of them. Let's look at our beta to see where we're at today.
Okay. This is the Topicmarks dashboard, the document dashboard actually. And we'll start off the demo by uploading a document. It's a big thing because what we really want to do is we want to take unstructured text and we want to create structured data from that. And what that means is that we'd like to identify the key concepts inside a document and the significant relationships between those concepts. And inevitably, what we really want to do is connect that with all your other documents. So here's loading, progressing, parsing sentences, but instead of just waiting for this, we'll just see what we really want to obtain from doing this type of stuff. So here's your document dashboard. Now, when someone actually looks at a document, the first thing they want to look at is possibly the summary as a quick overview. When you, and a summary in this instance would be an identification of the most important and most relevant sentences in that document. Now if you would click on a sentence, you'd find the context of that sentence. You can immediately see where the significance comes from. Oftentimes people would want to look at the tag cloud or the keywords associated with that document. The thing about Topicmarks, everything is connected, so if you were to click on a term like balance sheets, you would actually generate a summary. Now this is a focused summary. The narrative is actually associated with balance sheets in this case. You could, if you wanted to, type anything in that focus on box, but the truth is you should let the machine help you out. In this case, the machine is actually giving you 5 different perspectives on this document. So when you actually click on one of the suggested topics, then you actually get a different viewpoint on what that document is trying to tell you. But after that, one of the other nice things of looking at a document at a glance is a recognizable overview that people are familiar with, the back of the book style index, a cross-reference. Now, the cross-reference refers to individual facts that we found in the document. So by clicking on a entry in this field or on a document fact, we actually would highlight that fact in the context. And the great thing about this is that we actually weight the facts themselves. So you know that when you actually clicked on something, you'll get the idea of how relevant and how important it was in the whole thing. Now, so far, I've just been talking about looking at a document at a glance, but actually what you can do, you can look at a folder at a glance. And you can just basically get, we can find all the key concepts associated with all the documents and all the folders and try to give you a decent representation of that knowledge space. And if you decide that you want to focus on a particular part of it, you can just click on a keyword and it'll actually find the...
I'll have to switch to the last slide. I get a very, very nasty look from Matt below there. So,
oh, sorry.
We're out of time, so thank you very much. We've got some traction. We're looking at integrating with the document providers now, 2 deals in place already, and we encourage you to try our early beta yourself. Thank you very much. That's Topicmarks.
Thank you, guys. Okay, questions for Topicmarks. Topicmarks. Add 2 Coronas.
Does this mean if I have a book and I put that in there, that it'll generate an index and kind of relate all the topics?
Yes. Thank you. Very simple questions. Keep them coming.
Hi. Do you have an API for this or planning to develop an API?
We have launched an API in closed alpha since, I think, November. So there are a few people trying it out already, and this would be one of our revenue models, a bit like Twilio for summarization and semantic extraction.
Hi, thanks for the demo. Are you guys considering the actual site as the core, or the underlying intelligence of how you pull out summaries as the core of what you're bringing as value?
I think originally we started having our own site and letting people produce summaries on that site. So this is what we attracted more than 10,000 users with, and they're using it actively. But we are finding that the use case is much more compelling when people can actually use a pile of existing content that they have on an Evernote or a Dropbox or any of the other cloud providers. And there we will provide then the organization, the tagging, and also the summarization as one of the features.
Roland, a couple of weeks ago, we had a company up here called WikiSeer, which was a browser plugin version. Any thoughts on that model going through the browser versus an app?
I think there's 2 differences. One is there's a technological difference. There's many tools out there that have a very quick summarization. You know, they just take some words that occur in several sentences and then they are immediately generating a summary on the fly. Usually the quality of that is not reliable enough to really be able to count on that. And as one of our advisors always says, you know, the worst thing you could do is give the people a feeling you're cheating me, you're giving me a sort of summary, but it's not giving the essence of the content. Also, I think that we've learned that when people have to do too much actively to summarize content, they don't really think about it. Summarization has been in Mac OS 10 since 10.0, for example, and people have been able to use that for a long time. Where there's a much more compelling market opportunity is when people already have a lot of documents available and when you can organize that across these documents and not just on a simple piece of text that you happen to be reading.
My experience is that usually you would try something like that once, it doesn't ring the bell, you move on. Right? So you need to get it right the first time.
Yeah, this is why these things work much better within the framework of a service that people use all the time already.
Have you tried it on highly technical documents or research kinds of publications, or is it really aimed more at trade publications?
So if the question is highly technical, complicated documents, those are actually typically the documents that it works best with. because it tries to look for synonyms for better understanding, and these dense documents are typically written in a form where the author tries to explain the same point a couple of times and then summarizes it himself again. The ones where it's more difficult to produce the right summary are, relatively shorter documents where a point is made only once, like a blog posting, for example. So the more technical, the more dense, typically the better it works.
Do you see this as potentially replacing writers for doing things that writers would normally get paid to do?
Completely on the contrary. I mean, most of the people that use this very actively are themselves information producers, are writers themselves. And as you know, I think from experience, every writer has to process a lot of information themselves actually to produce this new content, and this is where we fit in. We help them go through the drudge work of collecting this information, organizing it, and then very quickly collecting their thoughts in order to produce new content. Authors, journalists, researchers, bloggers, analysts, all the people that produce information are our most active users.
How do you plan to market the product? Are you going
it's actually getting much simpler with the deals we have in place with the likes of Evernote. For them, it turns out that when they can convince people to put more serious content into these cloud storage services, this increases the likelihood of people becoming premium users so much that they're willing to market this for free to their users. And so we're working on a deal for the 5 million Evernote users and working on other deals with additional document storage providers.
Who do you see your primary audience as? If I were an attorney, I would see this as a home run sort of thing. Just right there, everything just kind of summarized.
Right. I think in attorneys it's quite interesting. There are two kinds of attorneys. There's the ones that get paid by the hour. They're not necessarily interested in something that saves them time. There's also, this is a personal experience, we've been trying, let me tell you. The other side is the attorneys that, for example, the class action suits that came up in the first presentation, these are the people that do a lot of research at their own risk and basically get paid a certain settlement, and a third of that. And they would be looking very much at keeping the cost as low as possible, and so their attorneys, just like every other knowledge worker out there, is a key target group for this technology.
Yeah, just since you're talking about attorneys and documents and private information, I have to ask, how secure is this? Since it's on the cloud and everything.
The service that is currently available is secure in the sense that, it's all password protected and everything, but it is designed, and Carl, you can say more about that, I think. It's designed to also be able to run on a corporate's premise. It can be run in an SAS-70 environment. There's a lot of modular architecture, and I'm going a little bit off what I know of personally, but I do know that we've got that covered.
All right, guys, we're out of time, but thank you so much.
There's one hand, but we'll talk about it over a beer.
You'll hang out later, right?
Thank you very much.
You guys can find these guys at the bar later.
Yeah. Cool. Definitely need a beer now. Thank you.
Yeah, you need a beer. Make that two. All right, and on to Hashable. As they're plugging in, let me just clue you guys into what's coming up next on the agenda for SF New Tech. Our next demo event is going to be February 9th. We're deliberating over who's going to be on stage. It's not too late to apply to woo us, if you so choose. And then after that, we're holding a very, very, very special event on the 23rd. It's not going to be about company demos, but it's more going to be about diving into a very timely and interesting topic on what we're calling as the social data revolution. What is going on with all our crap out there, and who's going to be leveraging it, and how will that implicate our futures and the futures of businesses that are actually jumping into that game down the road? Keynoting and moderating is a fellow by the name of Andreas Weignan, who you may remember or know as a former chief scientist at Amazon. He's currently traveling the world on a lecture circuit, and we scheduled the 23rd of February back in July last year. So that's what's going on. Also on the panel are Eric Lee. He's the founder of Presto and one of the co-founders of LinkedIn. Kristen Wilcon, who is the CEO of Scout, which is kind of like a mobile geolocational dating service, and their companion website, Boy Ahoy. And I learned Joe Stump, the CTO and co-founder of Simple Geo, will also be joining us. Joe was one of the chief tech guys over at Dig before he jumped ship, and one or two others that will join the panel. So it's lining up to be a very, very cool academic night on the 23rd of February. All right, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Hashable.
Hi, I'm Mike Yavendidi, the founder and CEO of Hashable. Thanks for having me. We're a New York-based company here for a few days for the Crunchy Awards, and we were thankful to get the slot. Our service is largely being used by people in New York City. The early adopter crowd has taken an interest in the service. It's very new. We've been in business for about 6 months and are still in private beta, although there are many thousands of people using the service. It's a very, I think, evolutionary idea, not a revolutionary idea. It's a social service, but it's a service that tries to take a step forward in terms of the data it collects. So I think the thing that's really interesting about what we're doing is we're collecting data around people that has yet to make it to the internet, information about who people are meeting with for breakfast, lunch, dinner, coffee, drinks, golf, tennis, all the things that the people in this room probably do on a regular basis. Hashable is the first service in the world that is attempting to collect that data in a lightweight and easy to use and fun to use manner. And we spent months thinking about the service before we built it. And it's really, to me, the first service that tries to track the relationship graph. And I kind of hate those buzzwords, but it's in essence what we're doing. We're not trying to track people who are connected to other people. We're trying to track how connected people are to other people and what's the nature of the relationship. So it's a very unique service in that regard. And I'll just show you what it looks like. So it's a service that can be used from pretty much anywhere: email, Twitter, mobile, native apps, any Twitter client, our website. It really doesn't matter. There is a small dictionary of terms that you can use, hashtags we call them. And there's a workflow process associated with a lot of those hashtags. So for instance, one of our hashtags is just met. It's a very well-known hashtag if you know Hashable. When you use that hashtag, it essentially becomes a virtual exchange of business information or business card information. If you type in someone's email address, it sends them your email address and adds them to your address book. If you type in their Twitter handle, it does the same, tweets them your business card, essentially. We also allow people to make introductions and log a number of other interactions. But I'm just going to do a real interaction because I was at a party earlier and I ran into one of my investors, Fred Wilson, and I didn't log it because my battery was dying. But what we do is the service integrates with all the people you follow on Twitter and all the people that you have in your webmail accounts. And in the native apps, it actually also integrates all the people in your address books. And essentially, it's kind of like people check-ins. Every time you run into a person, whether it's a business acquaintance or a personal acquaintance, and you want to log that event and somehow categorize it, that's what Hashable is. And so I ran into Fred Wilson tonight, and so I want to be able to log that. It's a very simple interface. I don't want to share it on Twitter because I don't think that's a good thing to share on Twitter. And what's that? He was at a party they were throwing across town at Twilio's headquarters. And what it does is it simply logs the fact that I ran into Fred Wilson. It has something called connection strength indicator, which is pretty unique and proprietary to Hashable. We look at not only am I connected to Fred, but how connected am I? What's the bidirectional nature of the relationship? Does he connect with me more than I connect with him? We actually look at that and assign proprietary scores. So that if someone that's connected to me wants to get to Fred, they can actually look at the service and see who's really connected to him. If you look at my address book, which is another thing that we are dynamically building in the cloud for you, you'll see that I have 47 interactions with Fred since the service was launched. 20 of them were intros, 4 of them were me saying thanks or him saying thanks to me, 4 of them were meetings. And you can, if you go down here, it has the entire relationship history between Fred and I, and we're about to launch a privacy layer where if people are called the inner circle, and if people are in my inner circle, they'll be able to see this relationship graph, or this address book, if you will. And if they're not in my inner circle, they will not be able to see it. What we do, the other thing that we do that's pretty innovative here is we actually rank all the people you interact with in the world by the strength of the relationship, not by alphabet, which is also pretty cool. And then we give you things like charts and graphs and that sort of thing. So kind of a taxonomy for your life, essentially. And that's it. That's Hashable.
All right, Mike, thank you so much. You guys, you have to make Mike feel comfortable. He's in from New York. You have to show him the San Francisco love.
Go easy on me.
Or go easy on him. This is an easygoing crowd compared to New York, no?
I think so.
I think we're more fun. Okay, so first question for me. Hashable sounds like Mashable. Those guys call you kind of pissed or what?
No, actually, they've actually written about us many times. I think if they were mad, they wouldn't write about us.
So I understand why Facebook would love to have all of this data and would love to acquire you guys to do that. As a user, what benefit am I getting from entering all this information?
The great thing is you don't really have to enter much. I mean, it's very lightweight. In most cases, if you're a heavy Twitter person, for instance, a hashtag is all you need to do in order to, I mean, if you look at Twitter right now, there are just, millions and millions of times a month people are proclaiming the fact that they had breakfast with someone or lunch or coffee or that sort of thing. We're just the first company in the world to try to structure it. And I think you want to keep it, you want to save it because it's important information. I mean, why wouldn't you want to remember who you had breakfast with or who you had lunch with? It sure beats going back and filling out a calendar. The next version of the service you'll see will integrate with Foursquare, so that essentially when you check in with a person, I ran into Fred Wilson at this place, it'll actually query Foursquare's places database, and it'll give you the geographic location. It'll also create a page that goes into an archive, and it also will plot that interaction on a timeline, sort of a really beautiful sort of portrait landscape of your relationship graph with that particular person. So every time you post, we save. It's kind of like Evernote in a way for connections. So it's a really unique idea. I think when people actually know how to use it, they love it.
What prevents someone from saying that they had lunch with Dick Cheney or Burt Bacharach, just randomly?
People do odd things like that sometimes. The thing that's interesting about it is that you have to actually engage that other person's either Twitter handle or email address in order to do that. And, if you don't know the person, that's spam, and you can report it as such on the system. It's also kind of a weird thing to do socially. But it happens. I mean, and if we see it, we send people a very terse message saying, cut the crap. And if they do it a second time, we shut down their account.
What are some of the privacy concerns? Because if I met somebody, but I really don't want other people to know about it, like just say, chicks.
Yeah. So I mean, right now someone can meet you and write a tweet within 5 seconds, and you have no recourse and nothing. There's nothing you can do about it at all. Or they can put it in Salesforce.com, and then 20,000 other people at their organization now have access to it. There's nothing you can do about it. And our service is, because we're taking information from a lot of disparate sources, some of those sources are free, like Twitter, and there's not much we can do about it. But we can give you on the back end an ability to come in, create an account, and make yourself private. So that's the real way to do it.
Quick question: what's your business model?
So every time you use the service, you generate a very small number of points. some people think it's a game, but it's really just kind of a kick in the butt. The points are used for a bunch of different reasons. We rank people by geography. Eventually, you'll be able to look at my address book and see who are the most highly ranked startup lawyers. It'd be kind of an interesting thing to see if you're interested in hiring a startup lawyer. But if you accrue points through natural course of using the service, then you're fine. But if you want to get to my data, or maybe to know who I think is the best startup lawyer in New York, and you don't have points, you may want to buy them. And so that's kind of what we're looking at right now. We're not exactly sure, but I believe in generating revenue.
So would this be a service that's useful for networking events where you meet a whole bunch of people and you walk away with a bunch of business cards and have no idea who those people are?
Yeah, so one of the main features of our mobile app, we have an iPhone app in the App Store. It's got a nasty bug in it right now, but in the next day or two, it should be approved with the bug fix. One of the features is Just Met. Just Met is a virtual exchange of business card information. You'll see us beef up that feature a lot between now and South by Southwest. There'll be a location filter associated with it, and also a privacy layer. So if I want to confine my information to a circle of people, I can do that. But yeah, it is, I think, excellent for conferences.
Mike, aside from first mover advantage, what makes your product defensible?
Well, I don't think the world needs two hashables. It would be kind of an odd thing to do. I don't know what makes it defensible. What makes anything these days defensible? I mean, I came from the ad business, and ad servers seemed like they were a dime a dozen, but we seem to figure out a way to differentiate ourselves. I think the fact that the world doesn't need two hashables, I think, is our defense.
Good enough. That's a good answer. Cool. Any other questions? We're out of time, but we can take one more quick one.
Yes. By the way, we have an Android app coming out in about 2 weeks, which is pretty neat.
Doesn't saying the world doesn't need two hashables mean that there's not much of a market there?
No, I just don't think. I don't think that if a person's going to log an event with another person. I just don't think there are many different ways to do that. I mean, we've been thinking about this issue for a while, and we think we've kind of hit the nail on the head.
Not to dwell on it, but doesn't South by have their own system in with which you can kind of build cred and follow your network of folks within the conference?
I don't know. We're doing our own thing. We're actually creating kind of a human scavenger hunt where people can run around and meet other people, and if they meet the right people, they get a windfall of credit on the system, and we're going to be ranking those people. We're also sending 10 of our top users from around the world to South by Southwest, all expenses paid, to be evangelists for the company. So that's pretty neat.
Right on. Well, good luck at the Crunchies. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Hashable, everybody.
Thank you.
Good stuff.
Thanks. Nice meeting you.
All right, guys, so the show's not over. This is your opportunity to grab this microphone out of my cold, dead hand. What we're going to do, if you're interested, actually line up this way, go backstage. It's a real special spot, and then kind of come up this way. And then when you're done, you walk down this way and then plug your data into the laptop. I'm going to make the first announcement while folks are lining up. How many of you guys knew we had a job board? Yeah, if you're looking for a cool tech job in San Francisco, we urge you to check out jobs.sfnewtech.com. It's primarily a good place to post jobs, but you can also peruse jobs there as well. So that's an announcement. Yeah, well, Aaron, go ahead. You can cut line, dude.
Hi, so like most of the entrepreneurs here, I'm looking for money would be nice. But in addition to that, I'm looking for a CTO, or if you have a job, a CTA, Chief Technical Advisor. I'm a serial entrepreneur involved in a few businesses, and I just want to talk very briefly about one. It's an online education business, and basically the idea here is we want to give the benefits of a college admissions counselor who costs on average about $3,000 a pop. to the great wide middle of America who can't afford it for an affordable price. We launched August 15th. We're doing very well by nearly every metric, and we're being advised by the founder of the Princeton Review. Well, I'll give you all the details if you're interested. You can find me in the back. I look forward to chatting with you. Thanks.
Thank you, Aaron. Hey, Aaron, hit up the laptop right here, man.
Hi, I'm Jenny Graham Scott with Changemakers Publishing and Writing. And primarily what I do is I write books. I've written about 50 books under my own name, and I also help other people write their books, promote their books, get them books published. And one of the things that I'm particularly interested in here is my next book is going to be called Finding Funds. And I'm looking to talk to people who have raised funds for a film, new venture, or small business. And I'm particularly interested in the first funding that you've gotten. And so I would love to talk to you. I've got some flyers about it. I'd like to get your business cards and collect your cards. And you can also see my website at changemakerspublishingandwriting.com. And I also do videos, book trailers and videos. And you can see kind of a fun video I did called Massage Wash, which is a new kind of massage, which is kind of give yourself the loving care you give your car.
Thank you, Jenny. Jenny, come down this way and enter everything from book writing and massages right into here. Thank you.
I'll tell everyone what I say every night I'm out. Hide your kids, hide your wife, hide your hackers. We're looking for engineers. So senior developer and back-end engineers and somebody that's talented and probably already working for you. I want to find them and make sure that they're happy. So, or if you know of somebody that's looking for a side project or wants to build their dream, we'd love to employ them for a year or two before they do that.
You're too funny, Allie. Don't work the dream at ConsumerBell.
Hello, everyone. My name is Adil Hassan, and first of all, they have Corona over here, so this makes it a very good evening because that's what I've been thinking about for the past 2 hours. And secondly, I started a group here in San Francisco called the San Francisco Service Exchange. We will be having our first meetup on the 3rd of February, which is a Thursday evening, 3rd of February at 5 o'clock at Lush Lounge on Polk Street. And basically, this is a group where you exchange services through interaction. You get to meet other people who might offer you development services, or someone might be able to do accounting for you, or if you are a hairdresser, you can come here and find someone with whom you can exchange services in terms of hairdressing versus yoga or massage therapy or whatever you're looking for. The main idea being that since you don't have to have an online profile, you actually come here and you meet people and you're able to communicate with them and be able to really understand their needs. And there might be some services that you're able to offer, but you don't realize it yourself right now. But if you come to our meetup, which is going to be on the 3rd of February, which is a Thursday at 5 o'clock at Lush Lounge, you'll be able to meet other people with whom you can exchange some of the services that you would knowingly offer or unknowingly offer, or be able to make some contacts that in the long run, if you need a service, you can always refer back to and be able to exchange with them. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Come down this way, and if you enter what you just said into the laptop, especially the massage part. Good.
Hi, my name's Andy Rondo, and tried my first startup and it failed, and well, I should have walked away sooner. I don't really have enough runway to continue. But basically the goal of the startup was to try and abstract data from web applications. So I could have a web application, but if the guy who wrote it decided to shut it down, I could still keep it. Anyway, I'm trying to find a job. I need a job. And if you're looking to hire someone who can go from the front end to the back end, find me. Kind of a jack of all trades. I've really gotten to like JavaScript, doing all the web stuff, and I'm kind of excited about this new system called Node, which is doing very powerful server-side JavaScript. Also, shockingly, I'm one of the few people who deploys C# on Linux. I kind of like to do those things.
How about massage?
Hi, I'm Mark. I am the creative director for the Shotwell company, and we are a web design and development shop. And the reason I'm up here is just to say, yes, I'm one of the founders of this company, and I find I'm so fortunate to be surrounded by some incredibly talented creatives and programmers, and I just wanted everyone to know the name of our company, the Shotwell company. If you're looking for some really smart web designers or developers, please think of us, the Shotwell company. Shotwell. We were founded on Shotwell Street. But we thought it was sort of found poetry, shot well. And now we're in downtown San Francisco, and I suppose we could now call ourselves the Sutter company, but we're the Shotwell company. Thank you.
Thank you. That's real creative.
Hi, my name is Marcus Rinaldi, and I run a meetup focused on technology, careers, and jobs. And so I like to connect with anybody who's looking for a job. And on another note, if you lost a ring in the restroom, I have it. Here you go. Yes, it was in the men's room. But yes, I have a technology meetup focused on careers, and if you're looking for a job, grab me. And if you lost a ring, grab me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marcus. Who's taking their rings off in the restroom?
Hey everyone, my name is Derek Henna. I'm actually the manager here at Mighty, and I do all the bookings and stuff. Thank you, thank you. We do a lot of great events here, as you know, and believe it or not, we actually do function as a nightclub in addition to doing the new tech. Yeah, we do, actually. And so I just want to tell everyone, there's a really special event that's going on Saturday, February 5th. I started an artist collective crew in the city called Pink Mammoth. We're out at Burning Man every year. We're kind of a daytime house music camp. And we're doing our 7-year anniversary here. So on February 5th, if you're looking for something really fun to do, we're totally going all out for this sort of extravaganza. In the back room, we're going to have a gourmet food court with food from School Restaurant around the corner, really great local fish place. We'll have some hot dogs and other kinds of food. And then outside, we're going to have this giant crane that is in the shape of a pink flamingo. This guy stores it in Treasure Island, and it's amazing. This huge pink lit crane, and in the bucket of the crane, which looks like the head of a flamingo, there's going to be a DJ booth. So we're going to have a DJ playing in there, hovering over the outside area. However, since we have neighbors, we can't make noise. So there's this thing called silent disco, where Koss headphones give out 75 pairs of headphones, and people literally wear these things and they dance all around outside, listening wirelessly to the DJ playing outside. So it's really funny to do and really even funnier to watch. Inside here, we're moving this DJ booth off the stage into the floor, and we're creating the stage for people to be able to dance and dropping the ceiling with some stretch fabric, kind of making a nice intimate feel. Anyways, if you're looking for something really fun to do, it's going to be awesome. There'll be some free Pisco Punch for the first hour and a half, and it's only $7 if you RSVP and you arrive before 10:30. So it's Saturday, February 5th. So, and I'll put all that info in the computer, but if you want to come back for something really cool, I definitely recommend checking it out. So, it is here. Yep, it's definitely here. So yeah. You can. I'll put it on there so you can see how to register for it, or you can just Google Pink Mammoth, and it'll pop up. So, yep. Or the Mighty website. It's all there as well. Yep. Cool.
Thank you, Derek.
Hi, my name is Lina, and I'm working on a web application called Super Connector, which is a more fun and proactive way to network online than what you can do on LinkedIn. I'm looking for a technical co-founder and talented developers, so if this is who you think you are, please introduce yourself to me. And again, my name is Lina. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Lena. That's kind of cool. You don't have to be a developer, but if you think you are, talk to Lena.
Hello, everyone. I'm Anna Vital. I'm looking around the room, and it feels like I've seen a lot of you guys on a dating site somewhere. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Our startup is called Meet One-on-One, and it started during the Lean Startup Weekend at Twilio headquarters just last weekend. Yeah, it took off a little bit. So we're looking for a developer, and what it is it's not a dating site, but it's where you can meet with someone one-on-one based on activities you like to do. So everyone lists the activities they like to do, and then based on that, you can meet with someone one-on-one, and it's not a date, so there's no social pretext. It's not embarrassing, it's just exciting. So, looking for a developer. And on a different note, on February 3rd, there is an event happening for Vital Daily, which is your daily dose of inspiration for people who are wanting to quit their 9-to-5 job and start living their dream. And I know it's all of you, and most of you have done that already. So, if you're into it, come, and you might be interviewed and get into the Vital Daily show. So check it out, vitaldaily.com, and all the information is on the site. Hope to see you all, and thanks for listening.
Thank you. Are you looking for a date as well? Yes.
First, just a round of applause for Miles. Was this a great evening or what? Really good. So I'm Tony with Twist Plays. So the sign scrolling away on the back of the bar there is really tonight's Twitter topics. And if you want to talk to me about your followers and what they're saying about you, or signs or Twitter, I'd be happy to talk to you. And I think that's it. Thanks. Great show.
Thank you, Tony. Add your info in the laptop. Next up.
Hello, my name is Mitsuo. I just started a company around San Francisco. Actually, just 12 hours flight from here, which is Japan. Yeah. So actually, we make new capture system. We new capture technique for mobile systems. For example, when you make an account at Google or Facebook, you see twisted characters, but they are not easy to read and very hard to type in with these kind of devices. So we have special program for this kind of stuff. Capture, yes. Capture for mobile. Thank you.
Welcome to town.
Hi, I'm Bruce, the guy who presents in front of black screens. We have space. We have workstations starting at about $350 a month, fully wired, sunny, beautiful space, nice people, fast-moving startup in there. If anybody's interested, you can probably find my email on the bio page on Conference Sound.
Where is it?
Oh, it's a very unhip place. It's at Sansom and Broadway, but it's actually a very cool place.
Cool. Run, don't walk.
You're all going to fail. Good night. Oh, no, sorry. You're all going to fail unless you understand your customers. If you do not understand your customers, you will fail. I don't care how cool your idea is. Please visit understandingyourcustomers.com or talk to me. I would love to talk to you about how to understand your customers. I promise I won't charge you any money. I will talk to you for hours about how to understand your customers. Do it, or you'll fail. But that's great. Go ahead and fail. Enjoy it.
Thank you, Evan. Make sure you make that front and center on the blog, dude. Evan. Let's take that message global.
We love Miles. We love Miles. Brian Zisk here. February 28th, we're doing the Future of Money and Technology Summit, and May 9th, we're doing the SF Music Tech Summit. They're so good that I can't say because you wouldn't believe me, but talk to a friend who's gone, and then you will. SF New Tech gets you 10% off, and it's all good. Thank you all.
Thank you, Brian. This guy throws some of the best conferences in town right here. We're honored to have him make a cameo.
Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. By the time this night, I probably had about 4 or 5 drinks, but I love technology, I love people, I love Miles, I love SF New Tech. I got 2 announcements. 2. Hypertable. It's something I've been pushing for a long time. It's an open source, scalable database. It's modeled after Google's well-known Bigtable, and buddies of mine have been developing this for a long time. So if you have terabytes of data, look up Hypertable. Some of our largest clients are Baidu and Rediff, and they're running some pretty large nodes and clusters with us. The other one is SF NewTek. But anyways, SF NewTek, you guys are here. You're obviously part of this community. I'm working with Miles to help grow the community and everybody, to you guys. So anyways, find us if you're curious about how we can work together. And the last one, which is a AppBacker. If you haven't heard of this, we are working with apps and investors, and if you have money, if you have an app and you're looking for money, and I'm just thankful. So thank you guys. Cheers.
Thank you, Matthew. Hey guys, that wraps it up, but it doesn't mean you have to go home. We're going to open the bar in the back. We're going to have